Hi, my name is Matt and I work for Secure Auto Track. We get asked quite often from people who want to install trackers themselves just how easy is it to install it on a motorcycle. Effectively, there are only three wires you need to worry about: the power cables and one cable that goes to the ignition, or at least a wire that goes live with the ignition. One of the tools that we spend most of our time using is a device like this, straightforward multimeter. But this, I don't know whether you can see that there, is what we use for the test probes. Most motorcycles now are, the wiring looms are configured in such a way you can't get at any of the terminals. So by putting this through the insulation, you can find out what goes live as you turn the ignition on. We would advocate you do use, and that is a soldering iron. This one's a gas propelled one, which is very useful on certainly when it's cold outside. As you can see, warms up really quickly. We do not advocate the use of these things. Scotch locks, because the current is so low to get the device to work, they provide nothing but problems, especially when they get a little old and you start getting connection issues. To make the job as professional as you can, that way it's less easily found, is to try and get some tape that at least matches the wiring that you have in the bike, and also some of this stuff which is perfect for covering the wires if you have to do any length of cable run. Just looks the part and doesn't broadcast the fact that it's an added-on product aftermarket. And one other thing, if you're taking lots of screws out, a little box like this just to pop the screws in. That way, ideally, you'll be able to remember where you took them out. We now have the unit. We've actually disguised it slightly so that it's not easily recognisable. We don't want anyone hunting it out that we don't want them to. So what you have is the tracker, and you have the wiring. On this bike already you can see we have an optimizer cable coming down here. We have what looks to be a heated jacket. We have a camera system, front and rear cameras, and we also have some auxiliary lights, so there's a little bit of extra wiring in this one. The only wires we're interested in here is the orange, the black and the red. The black and the red wires can either go straight to the battery, or in this case they could actually come off some of this extra wiring for the optimizer, or indeed straight off the fuse box. The orange wire can either come straight off the ACC, off the fuse box, or alternatively could come off the connection to the number plate light or tail light. Now, before any of you start worrying about connecting the orange wire to something like the number plate light or tail light, you have to remember the current consumption from this wire for the tracker is only for indication purposes only. Your LED, if you have LED, tail lights or number plate light will be consuming 10 or even 20 times as much current that this lead will need. Thereby your CAN bus will never even notice it. So let's say you have your power connectors all made, and what you're now looking for is the ignition. Using your test probe with the sharp end, you can start by looking at the fuses and turning on the ignition, and you will see when the ignition on is at 12 volts. Ignition off, 0. Now, certainly some of the BMW makes can have a delay when you turn off of something up to about 2 minutes. Once you've got the power and the auxiliary connections made, ideally by solder if possible, certainly the auxiliary connections, it is time to connect up the tracker, which is easy enough. Just find how it fits and push the two parts together. There we go. Then it's just a question of sighting the unit in a place that is discreet. In fairness, this bike already has a tracker installed, and it is actually on plain sight. Wonder how many of you can actually see it. So there it is. Hope that was useful. Nothing to be frightened of in putting your own tracker in. No more complicated than putting an auxiliary light in or heated grips. So if it's something you had a little bit of time to do and want to have a go, then give us a call or buy online. Thanks a lot. Bye.